Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Megan. I'm a wife to John and a mom to 6 kiddos, and I love all things homeschooling, homemaking, a little bit of homesteading, and I'm just happy that you're here. Today's video is actually sharing goals for this upcoming year. I cannot believe that it is almost 2023. It's insane. The past 2 years have really kind of been interesting, to say the least. They've had some downs, but lots of ups, and I am just grateful for God's sovereignty in it all, and that's all I have to say about that. But we are definitely looking forward to this next year. And I was never really like a New Year's resolution person in the past, but I really actually do like to make goals. I think it's a good practice to have, new year or not. I think it's something that you can do at any point in the year, and that is one thing that is part of moving into this next year, that we really want to make continuous goals for our family and our homeschool and things like that. So let's get right into it. I don't specifically choose like a word of the year, but I do like to kind of sum up my focus for each year. And in the past, I have used the word intentional a lot. That is one that I've really tried to keep in the forefront. And while that's really, really important, and I want to continue to do that, or to strive to do that, because I definitely don't do it perfectly, at the same time, I really want to focus on attention to detail. So I looked up the exact definition of that term, attention to detail, and it said thoroughness of accomplishing a task no matter how small. Even in the smallest things, I want to really focus on giving attention to detail, because to me, that is a very biblical thing. It's very scripturally focused, if I keep that in my mindset, because even in the small tasks, the Lord asks for our faithfulness, even in the small tasks, to work heartily unto Him. And so that is kind of my phrase or word of the year. I just like to say it's my focus for the year. Something I want to keep in the forefront of my mind as much as possible is attention to detail. And I feel like that works in every facet of life. Attention to detail in my parenting, in my marriage, in my friendships, in my personal and spiritual focuses. Just in every part of my life, I feel like that's a really important thing to just try to strive for. And obviously, I'm not looking for perfection, because it's unattainable to have perfection, just like with the whole intentional word that I've tried to focus on in the past. While it has helped a lot to have that in the forefront of my mind, and has made a lot of changes within me and within our family to keep that in the forefront, at the same time, it's not attainable to get it to the point of perfection, because that's just never going to happen. But it is something to strive for, something to keep in the forefront, especially as how it relates to our walk in our faith. Like I said, it is a very scripturally focused thing to be intentional, but also to give attention to detail. So that is my focus for the year. Now, I have broken down my goals or resolutions, whatever you want to call them. We'll call them goals. That's what I like to say. But before I go any further, I want to let you all know that this video is actually part of a collaboration with my friend Wendy over at Plan Prep Pray. And you will find a playlist down in the description below of several other mamas who are sharing their goals or resolutions or word of the year, whatever, for this upcoming year. So make sure that you go check out that playlist. There's lots of great mamas and their channels on there that I want you guys to get to know. And then also, of course, the hostess with the mostest, my friend Wendy. Make sure that you check out her channel as well. She is such a sweet friend of mine. I just absolutely love her, and she has a big goal, I'm sure, a big excitement to focus on, which will be happening early in 2023, which is welcoming her 5th little one into the family. And I'm so excited for her. So make sure that you head over and check out that playlist. Now, let's talk about the categories of goals that I have for this upcoming year. I actually have 3 categories that I've kind of broken it down into, and that's family, personal/spiritual, and then homeschool goals. So I like to be very basic with my goals because I don't like to overwhelm myself or others or whatever. And like I said, I also think that it's important to have ongoing goals when you meet certain things, or maybe you want to elaborate on a certain goal that you've made. Then I like to leave that open to add things throughout the year. So the first thing is family. And one of the things that me and the kids were talking about, and this could kind of go with our homeschool goals as well, one of the things that we were talking about is we love getting outside in our family. And one of the things that happened unintentionally in 2020, basically because the national parks got shut down for a while, is we kind of let our exploration go by the wayside. We used to be a lot more intentional and a lot more active outside, like hiking and going to the mountains and things like that. And it kind of caught us a little off guard, and we backed off on that just a little bit. And we really want to try to make it a goal to go hiking at least 2 times a month. Hopefully more, but at least 2. We felt like that was an obtainable goal, and so that is one of our family goals. The next thing is more of one for John and I. I can't elaborate too much on this, but because it's kind of personal, but we have had a goal since before we got married that has to do with really homesteading. I grew up, my grandparents' farm was a huge part of my childhood and has always been something that has been a goal of mine. And our hope and our dream, I guess, has always been, it's always been heavy on our hearts, is to be able to eventually move onto our family's land. And right now, that goal still seems kind of far away because there's a lot of aspects to it. But we really want to work on readying ourselves for when and if, because it might not ever happen, I don't know, but we want to ready ourselves in the event that it is made available for us to move into that goal and dream and what we feel is really on our hearts. And so it's going to be very much a not my will, God, but yours kind of thing. We've really tried to have that mindset and heart set, and we're really going to be kind of focusing on that and just really letting the Lord lead in regards to that. So that is one. And like I said, I can't go too in depth with that, but I feel like that's enough to let you know. The next one is personal goals. And this, okay, so one of the goals I'm continuing this year, one of my goals last year was to read more. And more specifically, I did like the Goodreads challenge, which I'll drop a link to my Goodreads account. I think I can do that down there if you want to follow my Goodreads. But I did a challenge. I challenged myself to read 25 books this year. I actually read 30. I should actually be finishing 2 more before the year is even done. So I went above and beyond that. And in turn, it has really rekindled this love of reading and literature for myself. Obviously, it's a big thing in our homeschool, but I have always focused so much on like read alouds in our homeschool that I've never really like well, not never, I've kind of backed off on like reading heavily for myself. And so that has had a lot of good things in return. Just in regards to, I've never really been a big TV person, but I'm definitely not now. I would much rather listen to an audiobook or read a book instead. And so that has allowed me also to be more intentional with what's around me rather than checking out by watching something on TV or something. So that is something I want to continue, and I am going to challenge myself again to just 25. I feel like that's attainable, but not overwhelming. So 25, and I want to focus on reading more classics and more kind of biographical, historical things. So there's that. And then the other thing for like personal / spiritual is obviously I want to continue with quiet time and all of those things. I don't feel like that's really a goal of mine because that's just a habit that is always being built. But this affects the spiritual part, and that is, and I'm going to have a video at some point, probably soon, coming out with a little more info about this. But just in regards to social media and just really holding it at a distance. While I think that there is some obvious like pluses to it, like there are some redemptive qualities to social media and how we use it, at the same time there are some huge flaws that really, if we aren't careful, can affect our hearts, even when we feel like we're the most guarded going into it. And again, like I said, I'll have a video where I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on this and my personal experience over this past year. And I'm kind of actually excited about sharing that video with you guys. So be looking for that. But that's what I'll say there is just holding social media at a distance, and make sure you're subscribed so when that video comes out, then you can hear a little bit more detail about that. And now we're moving on to the last category, which is our homeschool goals. And that is to continue to work heartily. This year, we have all, I feel like, worked very intentionally and focused in our homeschool. This actually has been one of my favorite homeschool years, and our curriculum, like just all of the things. And I'm excited about just finishing this year strong. And my kids, like I said, they've worked so hard. They've taken so much ownership, and we've just really had a lot of fun with school this year. And so just continuing on with that. And then also, this is something we've always done, like scripture memory and catechisms, things like that. But I really want to focus even more on scripture memory as we finish out the school year and as we move into the next school year as well, because 2023, obviously, we're just getting started. So it's, yeah. Anyway, you know what I mean. But really focusing on scripture memory and like taking that scripture and understanding it and hiding it in our hearts and relating it every day in what we do. So just, I guess, being more intentional and having that attention to detail in scripture memory and like how we apply it, not just having a verse each week and memorizing it and reciting it, but like actually putting it into an active role in our lives. And obviously, that's something that starts with me as mom, as I'm discipling my kids, and I can't make my kids be intentional with scripture, but I can encourage them to do so, and I can model what that looks like. And so when I say that that's a homeschool goal, like that's a goal that I want to be modeling for my kids. And I know that I might not see the return on that immediately in my kids or whatever. Like it really deals with the heart. I don't have control of that, but I do have control of how I model that for my kids. And so, yeah. So I just want to put that out there. And like, I think that's something too that we need to be mindful of as parents and if you're a homeschool mom, especially, is that we can make goals and want to instill habits and want to instill certain character and things like that in our kids, but it really truly does start with us and our own hearts. And sometimes I think there's so much focus on remedying those things in our kids, right, that we don't take notice that it's not quite right in our own hearts to begin with. And so yeah, that goes along with that attention to detail. So anyway, so that is the goals I wanted to share with you guys. I hope that you all enjoyed this video, and I would love for you to share down in the comment section, what are some of your goals? Do you have a phrase or a word or a focus of the year? Things like that. And make sure to check out the playlist down below. Thank you, Wendy, for hosting, and I will see you guys on future videos. Thanks so much, guys, and have a very blessed day.